And now we move on to the Secondary School Awards. Math in Motion is an ongoing project at Chatsworth where students watch a dramatization of a math word problem. They submit their solution and hope to win a prize. Chatsworth also took home the trophy for the Focus Award. Their winning entry is STEM Man.
In the 60s, my teacher had a huge record collection, so much so that someone decided to steal her albums. I felt like something had to be done.
So what did you do?
Well, the criminal only took the vinyls and not the actual package with it. I learned in my chemistry class that our aluminum powder is highly attracted to the oils in your hands. So I took fingerprint samples, and it turns out our thief was just enlisted in the army, and it was easy to match the prints. There was one time when there was a stray cat that got stuck in a tree outside of our school. That poor cat was so high up and too scared to jump down. Well, this was trickier than the first one. I mean, the poor cat was going crazy, and the nearest fire station was at least 30 minutes away. This time, I had to build something instead. I used data from engineer Theodore von Karman's 1936 graduate thesis and tested a small, alcohol-fueled motor for rockets. It really helped me with my jet propulsions.
Here's a teacher-producer for Math in Motion and STEM Man, David Massey.
David, congratulations on your Vic Awards, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about your project, STEM Man. How did that develop?
Well, the prompt was a little difficult. We were debating which genre to go with because it had to do with science, technology, engineering, and math, and we couldn't think of a narrative. And so we were thinking about doing a documentary. And then we had these story meetings, and one of the kids said, "Hey, what if he was a superhero?" And that's what started the process. And from them, we just kept brainstorming. And finally, they came up with this STEM Man superhero, this academic superhero. So that's how it came about.
Did it end up the way that it started, or tell me a little bit about the development of the line, the storyline?
Well, we tried to figure out arenas in which STEM Man could basically emphasize his powers. And so we decided to go back into time, into the 1960s. And so that was a challenge because everything was period at that particular time. And so we had to get albums, 45s. We had to, basically there was a plaque at the school that had 1964 on it. So we focused on that and panned up, and we had a hippie scene in there. So it was a little bit of a challenge for us, but I think the kids really enjoyed it. So that was something different that we hadn't tried before, doing a period piece.
Now, your productions, your students' productions, I mean, they're such high quality, and anybody watching and trying their first production may be a little bit intimidated. If somebody were watching and thinking about getting into video production, incorporating it with their students, what would you tell them? What piece of advice would you give to them?
Well, I think it would vary depending on their discipline. I think if they're using video for, let's say, math, or they're using video for social studies, I think you can get into a different type of genre and be successful with it. In my class, it's a film class, and so we have the luxury of being as creative as we want to be. What I try to emphasize is just creativity and storytelling. And I try not to limit the kids into thinking they have to be in a certain genre, but that they can do comedy, they can do suspense, and they can do any type of genre that they would really want to do. So for me, I would say let them explore. If you were teaching a film class, let them play. I think that at the end of the day, it's the craft. So you can always tell them how to improve on their composition. You can always improve in their writing, act one, act two, we can talk about will the character arc? And so that's when I think you can really start being hands-on with them and kind of guide them, but let them play.
Well, David, congratulations again to you and your students, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
From teacher Wayne Basinger's class at Cleveland Humanities Magnet High School, we bring you Hamlet, A Beast No More. Student Tommy Ingo is the winner of this year's Best Student Performance Trophy.
Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion could force his soul so to his own conceit, and all for nothing? What would he do had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, yet I, a dull and muddy meddled rascal, peak like a John of Dreams, impregnate of my cause and can say nothing.
Women in Comics. In this documentary, the students' work connects to theories of attraction and beauty, as articulated by Freud, Stendhal, and Jean-Paul Sartre.
A lot of female comic book characters are very, one-dimensional. They don't have a lot of, they don't have a lot of traits that, any normal, woman can, identify with.
They always have to wear that skimpy outfit, weird outfits that somehow seem to defy gravity. They have impossible body shapes, and they have weird costumes that somehow don't fall off, and
saying oh, it's not real, it doesn't do any, it doesn't cause any harm. Obviously it's causing harm. Obviously, if, women like me are afraid to go to, comic book conventions because they're afraid of, harassment, or they're afraid of, being drilled with questions, or, all of these reasons, I think, just saying, oh, it's a fantasy world, it means nothing. It means a lot.
Women in Comics is the first classroom video submitted by Wayne Basinger from Cleveland Humanities Magnet. Let's find out how he got the ball rolling.
Wayne, congratulations on your Vic Awards, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here and just a wonderful experience to be able to share what my students did with this wonderful project.
Well, we appreciate it. Women in Comics, your documentary. Tell me how that topic came about and how you ended up making this film.
We gave the students actually a rather generic topic. It was, describe to us what is beauty and attraction in modern America. And they were supposed to develop a subgroup or a subgenre within that topic that they were really interested in. What turned them on, what really drew them to the subject of beauty and attraction in America. And we had this group of young women who really love comic books. And they said, we want to tell you about cosplay and about women in comics and what we experience. And I'm like, great, go for it. And it was just a wonderful experience to watch them, basically bring this world to life, which I knew nothing about whatsoever. So it was a new experience for me and new experience for most of the students in the class.
What I really appreciate about your program is that you're a humanities magnet, yet you've got students making these wonderful films. Tell me a little bit about the benefit to the humanities program of having students engaged in making video productions.
Our goal of our program is to incorporate art into every single grade level. So in 9th and 10th, they're learning a lot of art history. In 11th grade, they're learning how to make physical art. But we know that the genre or the new medium of artistic expression is film. And that's what most kids today, every cell phone has the ability to make films built into it. And so we're really trying to get the students to take it out of the basics of filmmaking and really turn it into something of high quality, take this idea of filmmaking and incorporate it and really integrate it into our humanities curriculum.
Well, we've been privileged to see the end product, but tell me a little bit about the process. Do students see the natural connection? Do you have to sell them on the idea? Because obviously you've got a video production magnet next door. They didn't sign up for video production, and now they're tasked with creating a video. How does that sit with the students, and what kind of a learning curve do you have?
Our students love it. Most of our teachers are primary lecture-based instructors. So we actually give them an opportunity to get their hands dirty, to run around the campus, to actually do something active rather than sit in a classroom and just listen to another lecture. They love their lecture classes, but we really want them to do something physical, and the kids just embrace it completely.
So another one of your Vic Award winning projects is Hamlet, A Beast No More. Tell us how that project came about.
Well, of course, the students were studying Hamlet in their AP Literature class, and the goal of digital humanities early on is just get kids introduced and get them with their hands on the physical cameras and get them editing. And so really it was just let's get them some introduction to the video production process, both the front end and the back end. And so literally I had kids who had never touched a camera, had never seen Final Cut Pro in their entire lives, and they are the ones making these videos. And so it's a really interesting process. You give them a few days of training on how to use the camera, how to use Final Cut, and then we turn them loose and we try to see what they can produce. And obviously this was one that just turned out great.
Wayne, this was your first time participating in the Vic Awards. I hope it was a good process, and I hope you enjoyed it. What would you say to others who are sitting there watching on the fence about whether or not they should submit their entries?
I think it's a great process, and it really is validating. When you have a great idea and your kids come through and make an amazing product, you should showcase them. This was wonderful. I have to admit, this was my first time ever in a film production class, and so I was trepidatious. I'm like, there's no way my projects will ever win. There are so many people who have been doing it for years, and yet I have 2 award-winning films, mostly because of the kids. But you know, it is a very nice feeling to have your work recognized and to see the fruition of all the hard work and the planning that you put in to help the students develop something of high quality. So please, absolutely submit. It is worth every second of your time and effort.
That's excellent. Wayne, congratulations again on your Vic Awards. Thank you for your time and thank you for your support.
I appreciate it so much, and thank you for supporting film in the classroom. It's a wonderful experience.